Hola a todos, bienvenidos a esta ceremonia de Prehackathon de Polkadot en Latinoamérica. Como saben, Polkadot viene trabajando muy fuertemente en Latinoamérica para onboardear más gente al ecosistema cripto. El año 2021 tuvimos el evento de Substrate enfocado en desarrolladores. Este año 2022, en junio, llegó el de Code y tuvimos la oportunidad de ser sede de una de los eventos más importantes. En Buenos Aires se realizó el de Code en Latinoamérica, pero no solo en Buenos Aires, hubo otras ciudades en las que se hicieron side events sociales y de charlas con muchísima participación de interesados en el ecosistema. Además, este año también tuvimos la oportunidad de realizar un curso introductorio a Rust en el idioma español, que es muy importante para introducirse en todo lo que es el desarrollo de Substrate. Ese curso fue el primer curso que se dio en español, está terminando y ya se está pensando en el siguiente. Este raconto que viene a que el hackathon es una continuidad de lo que se viene haciendo en Latinoamérica. El ecosistema fue desarrollando nuevas oportunidades para que se puedan seguir sumando personas, técnicos y no técnicos, y que cada vez pueda tener más inclusión en todo sentido. Y como continuidad, y ya les voy anunciando un alfa, que en enero, febrero, todavía no está definida la fecha, tendremos la Academia de Polkadot en Buenos Aires. Hubo este año 2021 una academia en Cambridge en una asociación con la Universidad de Cambridge. Este año volveremos, este año sería enero, febrero, ya sería el año 2023, volveremos con ese evento en la ciudad de Buenos Aires de forma física, presencial. El hackathon está soportado por el Tesoro de Kusama. Hay 120.000 USS u otra moneda estable en premios otorgados por el Tesoro, y asimismo hay premios extras otorgados por los teams del ecosistema. Moonbeam tiene 2 bounties, Cellgates tiene 3 bounties y Unique tiene 1 bounty. Así que no solamente pueden desarrollar toolings o algún proyecto sobre Polkadot, sino que queremos que desarrollen también sobre diferentes parachains. Algo que me gustaría contar es todo el esfuerzo que estamos haciendo junto con los teams del ecosistema y que nos están apoyando fuertemente. Y puedo nombrar a Moonbeam, Astar, Akala, Subsocial, Shear, Mangata, Arduinia, Virto, Seggates, Unique, Sensei No, Rolloy, Encounter, Kylie Network, Chainlink y Crypto 247 como algunos de los partícipes del ecosistema que están dándole mucho apoyo a la comunidad, porque este es un evento de la comunidad para la comunidad. Creo que este año 2022 tuvimos una oportunidad histórica. Tuvimos el de Code en Buenos Aires, tenemos el hackathon que es una oportunidad para toda Latinoamérica y también para España, para toda la gente de habla hispana, como para avanzar y mostrar qué es lo que podemos dar desde acá. Algo que es importante y que no comenté anteriormente es, para presentarse como team, no se requiere ser desarrollador. Obviamente el proyecto sí tiene que tener desarrollo y tiene que codearse, así que necesitan algún dev, pero no es requisito que todos sean devs. Los teams pueden ser, uno puede trabajar solo o puede trabajar en equipo, hasta 5 participantes, todos te tienen que inscribir, está todo en la web, Polkadot Hackathon Latam.com. También hay un Notion y también hay un Medium que explica todo. Sí, les voy a presentar a Osvald, Growth Manager de Web3 Foundation, y Úrsula Oquington, Directora de Comunicación y de Alianzas de la Fundación Web3. Gracias.
What's the current status of the people that they have been participating or building with us?
Yeah. So I don't have exact numbers on me, but I can tell you a little bit more anecdotally. So about a year and a half ago, or maybe already 2 years at this point, we launched the first hackathon based on Kusama. Back then, it was called Hack Kusama, and in that hackathon, you had participants like Unique Network, like Hydra DX, and some of the others that are today parachains. So it really depends on the kind of zeitgeist where you are and what's happening. Back then, there was just a bunch of pent-up demand. Today, we generally tend to see two ways that people progress after making let's say, a valid submission. It doesn't really have to be a winning submission at the end of the day. There's about half of the people, or a third maybe, that just want to build their own company. They want to form a startup, they want to get it funded, they want to take it through something like the Substrate Builders program, or maybe get a grant for it, and so on. Right? So it's typical entrepreneurs. And then the rest are really interested to find job opportunities. They really want to get a job within this space, and rightfully so. I mean, not everybody is a founder, right? Not everybody has to be an entrepreneur. So I think this is also going to be important in this hackathon. I think providing opportunities for recruitment for companies and linking that up with viable candidates is really, that's very, very important. I can tell you, about a year ago, or a year and a half ago, we ran a campaign on Gitcoin that was called Hello World. 1,000+ participants, and we hired, the ecosystem hired somewhere between 10 and 15 people. Parity hired 2 or 3 people from that campaign directly. So it's something that is really working. It's really, hackathons are, that's what I meant by hackathons are a piece of the puzzle, right? Before a hackathon, you need to drive a lot of education, awareness, all of the stuff to get people in. And hackathons are really an activation part. How do we activate people to do stuff, to build something, to show them, to guide them, to mentor them? And then what comes next is usually following these two paths. Either people build something or they get a job. So generally, we see really good statistics on these things. That's why we keep on doing hackathons, because they really work. They connect the ecosystem together. And honestly, I'm very excited to see a little bit more in-person hackathons. Maybe throughout next year, we're going to see a little bit more of that as COVID winds down, hopefully. But yeah, I hope this answers your question. I don't have a specific number or a specific kind of statistic on me, but in general, it's very, very positive.
Well, I'm sure that the hackathon communities are growing like crazy. Years ago, I was in Mexico and I was participating on the Fuck Up Night. It was funny. It was like a state of the project that they were evolving into hackathons. It was like people that they were just complaining. That's why they were calling like Fuck Up Nights or something like that.
Yeah.
So people just complaining of the current state of different type of techs. I'm telling you, 15 years ago. And they say, okay, let's stop complaining and let's move to the builder part, and that's why they move forward for hackathons. So it was very interesting, because people that just complain about the state of like X amount of technologies or so, or what they would love to do, but complaining doesn't leave you anywhere. To have to sit and build and then try and experiment, as you well said. So I think it's very interesting, and Latin America is a continent, I can tell you for sure, because I did an article years ago, that they're very early adopters. Just to let you know that all of the big tech companies based on Silicon Valley, like companies such as Facebook, Google, Uber, they have launched first in Latin America before they were coming to Europe. And why? Because they were like the testing ground. It was easier in Latin America. And actually, Facebook, the second largest country, I mean, it was like the US, then they came to Spain, and it was like about the same time, Spain, Mexico, and Colombia. So it will tell you something, that people in Latin America, they're not afraid to adapt new things. It's just the fact that we need to keep move the builders community, because there's a lot of talent, but now we need to find it.
Yeah, I really echo this. I've spoken to you before about my experience in China, and this is actually something that I've seen there as well. People adopted mobile before they adopted like computer connected to the internet via a computer. This was their starting point. And I think this is what you often see with kind of developing markets, that this is the tech now, this is what we're using today, so people are just going to use it because it's there. If you come to a developed country with all the infrastructure that you need, well, there's less incentive for people to start using something new. So I think it's important to note this, that in Latin America, you're getting this wave of builders that can build stuff for their local market. And this is probably the most powerful combination, because you have early adopters, people will use technology that you serve them, and you have an up-and-coming entrepreneurial community with builders, developers, and so on. And most importantly, people like Lorena and Hernan and so on, who are bringing these opportunities to local people. So I think it's important to know that these events, people might think, oh, this is just a hackathon, whatever. No, it's actually really, really important to kickstart a local community of developers, entrepreneurs, and the next wave of technology adoption. So
yeah, that's true. So I don't have anything else to add, because I think that we've been covering mostly of everything, and I would love to have Hernan or Lorena or Ezio chime in if you have any additional question to Urban. But we can see he's very excited to see this live hackathon in Buenos Aires, and he's very thankful for both of you as well.
Some of projects that have been presenting, some of the projects that we will be presenting at hackathon are now projects in the ecosystem, or have been are a parachain now, or
Yes.
Could you explain us something? Okay.
Yeah, there's obviously going from here's an idea to here's a parachain. It's very long. This is not a very simple thing to do. So you can imagine just learning Rust and Substrate and building something and actually solving a problem. This is not very easy. But I'm very happy to tell you that I've seen quite a few projects go from, here's our idea, or here's some initial code that we've built, here's some, stuff that we put down to maybe a year or 2 years later, actually launching a parachain. So it does happen. It's very hard. It's not simple, and it does happen. But this is why I'm also saying hackathons are a catalyst. They're an activation part. Then you need to be very mindful of how to help people getting to the next stage. For a lot of hackathon participants, especially the chain builders, the Substrate Builders program is definitely a program that they want to get in. Parity really offers white glove support to some of these chain and infrastructure builders, and it's very important that builders, especially the winners, they get a chance to talk to Santiago and Ben from Parity in this case, right? To see what the next stage is, because often I think ambiguity is very difficult to combat in such a state. You get, not everything is known to everybody. Not everybody who comes into a hackathon knows, oh, here's the program that I could use and leverage. Oh, here's the job that I could take. Although, you and I could be very familiar with this, it's not often clear. So, but yeah, it does happen, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that often, but it is definitely, we've seen that multiple times over and over again. So I would sure hope so that somebody from this hackathon also makes it that far.
In addition of that, as I know, for example, any team that had present a project could apply maybe for Web3 Foundation to a grant or something like that. Is this correct?
Yeah, so the grants program is it's very open, actually. It's not something that we kind of safeguard and lock down. You can go to GitHub and read all about it. Obviously, you will have a leg up if you make a successful submission because you've actually built something, right? And your grant is not going to be, oh, I want to build this from 0 to 1, but you actually are going from 1 to, I don't know, 55 or 1 to 100, right? And the grant can help you with that. So yes, absolutely. The Web3 Foundation grants are a good tool to be using for the next stage after the hackathon.
Perfect.
Actually, that's a good question, because any project that will be like working on the hackathon, it will make that project more legit in front of the grants team as well. Because as Osvald said, it's not a closed grant. It's pretty open. I mean, we just gave them to a journalism project like a month ago, and they came out of the ecosystem. They were building things with the Oxford Internet Institute. So like everyone with a good idea, they just can go and knock at the door at the Web3 Foundation and apply for a grant. But if they go through this other funnel, which is through the hackathons, and they have showed that they're legit and they're working on building something, it might be more legit in front of the people that they're evaluating grants, for sure.
Yes. Okay. Well, I have a lot of questions, but I know that Urban has another call, so I want to say thank you, both of you, Urban and Úrsula, and I for being part of this pre-hackathon ceremony. And I will start to talk in Spanish. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gracias a todos por sumarse a esta ceremonia de pre-hackathon. Voy a presentarles nuevamente a Úrsula O'Quinton, que es directora de comunicación y alianzas de Web3 Foundation, y Osvald, Growth Manager of Web3 Foundation. Les comento que este va a ser un hackathon enfocado en Latinoamérica, un hackathon virtual de 6 semanas que comienza el 3 de octubre, que las inscripciones las pueden ver en el link que va a quedar en el link de YouTube que va a quedar. Y pueden ser desarrolladores o no y buscar equipo. Los equipos van a ser de 1 a 5 participantes, y como comenté, es totalmente virtual. Va a ser desde el 3 de octubre al 10 de noviembre, del 10 de noviembre al 19, del 11 de noviembre al 19 de noviembre vamos a tener el periodo de evaluación de los jueces, así que están todos invitados. Nuevamente, muchísimas gracias por participar de este hackathon virtual, y muchísimas gracias Urban y Úrsula por sumarse a esta ceremonia de pre-hackathon. Gracias a todos, nos vemos en breve.
Muchas gracias. Hasta luego. Chao.
Bye.